Let you guys look at the draft here. And I shall also look at the draft. Immersion first pick, alright. Okay. And hyper random second pick, alright, we like to see that as well. I like that hyper random has been seeing more play, right? It started out pretty. It felt like nobody was picking hyper random initially, but I think now that we're settling into our like most players are playing their second, third sets of the tournament, it feels like people are a little more willing to pick these hyper random, which I like. Okay, Akare. Hate that map. I could tell neither of you were super well versed on hyper random because neither of you realized that killing the Wonder was actually going to win you the game. I was so keyed in. You had those Lushuans camping around the back of the base all that time. And they were just hanging out like just outside the range of the Wonder. Joel's is possibly the least picked in special maps. Surely Immersion is the least picked map, isn't it? I've only seen Immersion played like twice, I think, so far. I guess we haven't seen Shoals that much though. Well, we're gonna see Immersion this time. Oh yeah, I guess. Hold on. Where am I? Sniper versus. It's a good map. Immersion is picked more than Shoals currently. Really? I must have just missed all of the Immersion sets then, because I have not seen Immersion at all. I haven't cast or have I? No, I did cast one Immersion. I cast one Immersion. It was, I think it was Otters, right? And then I saw the Immersion with Warpath that was a wood game. I think those are the only two Immersions I've personally watched. I've definitely seen more Shoals, but I must have just gotten lucky with the Shoals. Anyway, no Shoals here. Very sad. At least hyper random. And honestly, this is a good map draft. I like this map draft. Fez is usually entertaining. I'm down for more Immersion. I don't think I like this version of Immersion as much as the previous iteration of it, but I haven't seen it enough to be able to make that determination yet, so. Oh, Griffin. I need to cast more Griffin games. He's picking all the Immersions. Okay. Otters cast like no Shoals. I like Shoals. I'll take all the Shoals matches. I'll take them all. I don't mind. I will take every single one of them. All right, let's see what these admin bans are. So far, nothing. Okay, Slavs is a big one. No Dravidians. Massive. Mongols and Bengalis are big ones back to back as well. Malians. Malians are very heavily picked. I feel like Malians are maybe the most picked Civ so far because they're not quite good enough to get sniped, but they're good enough to sneak in at the end of drafts quite a lot. No Turks can be important on Immersion, I suppose. Yeah, Ackery's been picked a lot. Which I'm surprised at. But I guess it's a pretty straightforward map. The way most people have been playing it, so... Makes sense at the same time. Alright, let me... Get these in here. Sniper going Fez over Shoals surprises you. He usually picks water. Fez does technically have water. Maybe he's got some crazy Cannon Galleon on Fez strategy pinned down. There's a lot of water here, to be fair. There's already a lot of water here. Immersion is watery. Hyper Random is sometimes water. Fez has water. Ackeray also, honestly, Aftermath is the only one here that has no water on it. Burmese, #1 snipe by Sniper himself. Interesting. Doesn't want to see those elephants, maybe? Vietnamese, another elephant civ. Persians, okay, neither player wants to see elephants. Ackeray, Aftermath. Honestly, these are a lot of elephant maps. If we're gonna call maps elephant, like, we've seen elephants a lot on Fez, we've seen them a lot on Ackeray, we've seen them multiple times on Aftermath, and Immersion can sometimes be an elephant map as well. You love Dune Springs. Dune Springs. Can't remember what that is for some reason. I think I liked Dune Springs, if I remember correctly. Alright. Yep, I don't see Japanese here in any of these bands. So, I think we should see Japanese, honestly. Probably Chinese, well... Jurchens are still here too, right? It's probably like Saracen Jurchens for both, I think. It should be anyway. For these top two. Okay, Sniper goes Celts instead of the Jurchens. That's fine. I think I prefer the Jurchens though. But you can never complain about getting the Celts. Immersion's been played 13 times. Wow, I have just really missed all these Immersion games. Okay, fair enough. Bohemians. So, Jurchens and Saracens are both really good hybrid map civs. So, I think Hyper Random gets one of them and probably Immersion gets another one, unless... Saracens are quite good on Ackeray as well, if you want to go that way. Pasta does get his Japanese. Koreans third overall. Are there that few? Does Pasta just really like the Koreans, or are there that few good civs left? Yeah, the Berbers were still available. That's a really good draft by Sniper there with the Berbers. Berbers are another really, really good hybrid civ. They can be played land and water to really good effect. So I like that pick a lot by Sniper as a fourth pick as well. Feels like really good value. Huns is another really... Yeah, this draft is crazy for Sniper. Not to say that I don't like pastas, but this is a crazy draft for Sniper. I'm curious to see what the ends of these look like, but Celts, Saracens, Bohemians, Berbers, Huns is a really strong top 5. Byzantines, okay. Where are we drafting Byzantines for? I guess you can play them on... Can you play them on Immersion, though? I don't know, man. Yeah, it's not the best maps for Bohemians, I suppose, right? The Malian 70% Malians loss. Yeah. It's not been nice for the Malians. I said sneaking in the Chinese this late is really nice too, even though without Shoals here, I don't know if they're quite as... I'm not sure what map you're picking them for necessarily. They could still be viable on Immersion, I think, but they're not nearly as strong as on Shoals. Alright, and Teutons and Britons as our final picks. I think you snipe the Saracens if you're Pasta, and I think... you might just snipe the Saracens if you're Sniper too. I might snipe the Jurchens over any other Civ, to be honest. I don't know if there's any Civ I would leave standing over Jurchens generally, but it is just a double Saracen snipe. I think that makes a lot of sense. Saracens are arguably the best Civ in the game for Deathmatch, so makes a lot of sense. Isn't Bohemians a free Accaray win? A free win? Is it? You do tend to want to mix in some Hussite wagons. I'm against these civs, I might not hate it, to be honest. Bohemians should have quite favorable matchups against the Koreans, Byzantines, Teutons. I think that's a good matchup for the Bohemians. Japanese is probably a decent matchup for the Bohemians. I don't know about Magyars, but... And Jurchens I don't think is a good matchup for the Bohemians, but I don't think we'll see the Jurchens on Accaray. Hot takes flying in for sure. For sure. Alright, what do we think? What do we prefer here? It kind of circled back around to being tough for me. I really like the Jurchens a lot. But I think like getting the Berbers and the Huns while Pasta gets the Koreans and the Byzantines. Like, I don't know. I think I prefer snipers here. It feels weird to say the Chinese might not be picked, because in other map drafts, they're like by far the best Civ you can draft, first overall. But I don't know if we see the Chinese here. Guess we'll have to see how it unfolds. Alright. Yeah, here we go. Checking out the future competition here. He's going to be up here any season. Do these have... Okay, yes they do. Game 1. Alright, perfect. Sniper a little bit more for the Berber late pick. Yeah, the Berbers really swings this a lot. Getting the Huns as a 5th pick feels really good as well, though. And I don't hate the Britons or the Chinese, to be honest. Not that the Teutons are bad, but... Alright, Aftermath. Aftermath. This could be a Teuton map for Pasta, but I think with the rest of these maps, I think it's Magyars here, right? Do you ever want to pick the Magyars for these other maps? Maybe for Fez Magyars, but I think this feels pretty good for the Magyars on Aftermath. Sniper. Do you just go... I actually don't know. I want to say Celts for Immersion, Berbers for Hyper Random. Maybe this is Bohemians, but maybe they're for Ackeray as well. You don't need the mobility on Ackeray that much. So maybe this is Huns for Sniper, but Huns feels terrible against the Magyars, don't they? Maybe not. If you go heavy Tarkin as the Huns, does that feel good against the Magyars? Huns Churchins? Churchins has to be for for a hyper random, right? Unless that's where you want Byzantines to go, or Japanese, I guess. Maybe Japanese is the hyper random pick. I'm still saying Magyars, Huns, I guess. Biz can be for Ackeray. True. Being able to mix in some cataphracts can be strong, right? Alright, let's jump into game one. Let's see. Without further ado. Okay. Well, my batting average remains at 50%. Welcome in. Game one. We've got NuclearPasta versus Sniper here in... This is not Division 7, though. In Tarnished Deathmatch Division 3. We are here on Aftermath. It is the Magyars for Pasta, so I got that one right. It is the Celts here for Sniper. Celts have been strong on some of these other maps in this pool in the previous season. I don't know about this season. And obviously they're fine here. I think this is a good choice here. I just was expecting them maybe somewhere else. But Magyars versus Celts is an interesting matchup, huh? Trying to get some Vil snipes. I don't think any villagers are going to go down there. And that means Sniper is going to be able to take control over both trade workshops initially with his opening scout. Alright, Magyars getting their castles up. They're getting their archery ranges down. Opening with some Halb, some Paladin, but the main composition is Cav Archer, Magyar Hussar. Over here with the Celts, castle will complete, I think, before any of this military gets in here. Pretty much. So the Celts want to go Halb, maybe some Woads, mostly Siege is kind of the heavy hitter of their composition, though, and it always will be. So, I guess I prefer Celt. It's going to be tough to take a really good fight with the Magyars, I think, right? You're going to need really good micro. Very aggressive forward castle here for Pasta. Nice quick walls around that villager so the Woads don't run in and deny it. And there's no... Well, Scorpion? Can this Scorpion deny this castle? Maybe. It's gotta get out of here, though. It's stuck in between the buildings. Alright, we're moving out now. Not a ton of Cav Archers on the field just yet, so the Halbs should be putting in pretty good work. I guess the SO is actually going to deny the castle, not the Scorpion. Villager pulls back. Yep, okay. Multiple villagers pull back. Not giving up totally on this castle just yet, but is going to have to conglomerate some military first. Still, both trade workshops under Sniper's control, so that's a decent trickle of resources here. You can see wood and gold counting up. Food is also counting up, you just can't see it. And, well, let's see. Paladin roll through. They're going to try and snipe Siege. But the Halb are here, right? Oh, big SO shot. Friendly fire. KD's going to look a little bit weird after that one. Castle, I think, is going to be fully denied. Pasta probably just going to let it go down to fairly low HP and then delete it. Should at least. We'll see. Maybe you don't delete it, but you should. That's still 300 stone or so. Castle's coming up behind. I like the expansion here for Pasta. It's very centralized eco for Sniper. Paladin roll through. They're trying to deny a castle, and they won't. Down to the last villager, and the castle completes. So this castle is now fully denied. We've got Magyar Trebs trying to take out the Celt SO. Do Trebs not even one-hit Celt SO? Is that what happened to that Siege Onager? Why it had like 1 HP left? That's crazy if so. Well, that one was injured already, so that doesn't tell me anything. It does. Well, that one didn't. I don't know. A direct hit, I guess. Or maybe this one was also had an HP taken off it. I'm not sure. They can survive a Treb shot, though. That's what I learned from that one. Magyars are getting into a pretty solid state militarily. 50 Cav Archers on the field. The issue is they might not last long if the SO get a couple good shots. Paladin dives. They do snipe a couple of SO in there. That's nice. Actually, 3 SO went down there. That's good value. Trebs roll forward, though. Wodes killing some Vills. And even a little hill here for Sniper to sit on. This castle is technically on a hill as well, I think. I'm not sure how many of these are getting elevation bonuses. 1 Treb goes down to the Paladin. And so does... No SO go down. Castle falls behind. It's kind of a big deal. You want as many castles as possible as the Magyars. Those Magyar Hussar, really valuable part of your composition, especially once the gold runs out. Trebs getting into a position down in the south here. The Celt army is not a mobile one. So this castle could go down before anything can come over here and stop this. I'd like to see probably less Paladin now. I think we're reaching the point where maybe switching into those Magyar Hussar would be more valuable long term. Castle does fall for Sniper. But all of this forward position is being trebbed down at the same time. It's just regular onager for the Magyars, right? They do get siege engineers at least. But it's really tough. Tough to take those trades. Yeah, well, you know, like... yeah, I was not comparing it to Sniper's military, to be fair with that comment. Alright, double castle in the north. But I think Sniper has... No, Sniper has not seen this. The Wodes are just moving in at the perfect timing. But he still does not see this, actually. He's just trying to get the relic. So maybe that castle does not go up for Sniper. Onagers all go down. Especially against the Celt SO. They just have so much HP. It feels impossible to take good trades with regular onager against them. Really good eco behind this. 100 villagers now for Pasta. It's only 63 for Sniper, who still has really no map control. These Trebs are still here. There's no military support. I guess technically there is. But it's 1 Paladin and 1 onager. And these Trebs are going to take out another castle. The Paladin's going to take out the SO. So a TC is going to go down. Actually, massive value. This castle was denied. But the Death Ball marches ever onward for Sniper. I don't know how you deal with this army as NuclearPasta. Another castle. Gonna go down here. Pasta's gonna repair as long as possible. There's a lot of vills repairing this. 23 villagers around the base of that castle. So, as long as there's stone in the bank, I suppose it might stay up. Paladin try to roll through to snipe the SO. It's tough, though. They do pull maybe the Halves out of position, so these Paladin can get in. No, not really. Really good unit control by Sniper there. Is still losing his base to these unguarded trebuchets, which is not ideal. Another castle might fall here. Repair. Oh my god. I can't believe it. This castle will fall as well for Pasta at the front, though. There are enough trebs here now to take it out. 23 repair villagers or not. Both players are now pop capped at 195. 200 out of 195, actually. Cav archers roll in for Pasta, but there is still military back here for Sniper, so I'm not sure how much damage they'll find. Replaces the TC, replaces one of the castles at least. Still really good map control for NuclearPasta, though. Raids coming in the north. I don't think Sniper's noticed this. He's trying to roll his army in down the gut. You can't look away from this, right? This is the issue for Sniper right now, is Pasta can just send in raids anywhere he wants, and oh, if you look away for a second, suddenly these Paladin have pathed around your Halb. 1, 2, 3 onagers go down. 4, if you count, or maybe that was a Treb, actually. That was a Treb, I think. If this death ball goes down, I think Sniper just loses, right? He's got a huge military advantage. It's 124 to 37. I think Pasta's a little bit overboomed here. Sniper's a little underboomed here. So we're at the point where it's way too much military versus way too much eco. Really good snipes here on the siege, though. Did Pasta catch Sniper looking somewhere else on the map? Had a great shot with one onager, and then these Hussar got great value. That's a lot of SO that just went down. Trebs are still alive. Mostly. There's 4, which is an okay number. Still castles going down. Production buildings at the front going down. TC's on the side. Trying to clear up all this forward stuff by Pasta over here. Both players are in control of one trade workshop. Decent shot with the onager, but I think this is another lost castle for Pasta, but we're down to only 3 siege onagers in this forward army for Sniper. Wood is an issue. That's not usually the case for the Celts, but only 14 on wood behind this for Sniper might be an issue. Basically everything you make as the Celts costs wood. Everything that doesn't cost wood costs food, and there's even less food in the bank for Sniper. You need a lot of Halb, right? You need a lot of Halb, maybe some woads mixed into this composition for it to work correctly. Cav archers, only 30 of them on the field. It's not a ton, but it's certainly enough to deal with little bits of infantry like this. Most of this stuff is still being cleared up without opposition. Trebs at the front. Big old Treb war. Hussar. Dive through, get another good engagement against the SO. Just got to make sure you don't lose this mass to the SO, and you're feeling good about yourself, I think. It's going a little bit longer than I would like to if with this amount of map. I guess Sniper is regaining map control behind this, though. I was going to say Pasta's had such a good map control. I think the longer that this game goes, the better for him, but he is losing all that map control while he tries to clear up this main push, right? All this stuff is gone, basically. There was really never very much up here. So he's going to have to win this fight, I guess, at this point. Cannot rely on a good macro for much longer. Cav archers are going down. Sar continuing to dive on the SO. The economy is really good behind this for Pasta, but is out of gold, I guess. There's gold down here. Is there no gold left in here? No. Ooh, that's not good. That's not good. Magars can do okay without gold, but they need to have like 50 Cav archers on the field first, and then they just micro those Cav archers and they don't lose them, so they don't have to spend more gold. That's not really the case here for Pasta right now. Ooh, nice snipes on the SO by the trebuchets. Okay. Finally getting some Magyar Hussar on the field. It's just been regular Hussar up until this point. I mean, they're not going to get their... These guys have a gunpowder bonus, don't they? Or no? Is it only the winged Hussar that get gunpowder bonus? It's just siege. It's a siege bonus for these guys. Okay. I always get those mixed up in my head. So yeah, Magyar Hussar should still be amazing, right? They get a bonus against all this siege. They're so much better at sniping these units that Pasta is already diving with regular Hussar. So it should just be strictly better. I guess it's only 3 castles behind this for Pasta. So maybe the production is an issue, but I mean, they're doing a good job here. There's no more SO at the front for Sniper. Well, there's one, and it gets a good shot on the trebuchets. Castle falls, though. I was getting close to being ready to give up on Pasta, I'm going to be honest, but this pushback has some legs to it. I don't love the amount of gold units available for Pasta, but he is back on gold down here. There's only 900 gold left there, but if we can push out a little bit further, that's another 1600 gold here. Maybe all he needed was a handful of Magyar Hussar. Suddenly he's got full reversal. Halb's still taking a good fight here, but can they protect all this siege? I don't know. Sniper surely is running low on gold as well, right? He's got 1,000 there. Is that it? That might be it on the map. We might be out of gold on the map besides this one pretty soon. So the trade workshops are going to be even more important. Sniper does have a 1 relic advantage. 3-2. But the Celts really do not feel good without gold. If I said the Magyars can kind of survive without gold decently, the Celts cannot. They really just cannot. So time might be running out here a little bit for Sniper. Gonna try and fortify this gold with a castle, but there's trebs. There's quite a few trebs behind this. 6 right here. Maybe can't move out with them just yet, though. The Woads going down for free against the Cav Archers feels a little bad, and yeah, this castle's not gonna make it. I think Pasta survived. That's a nice raid, but was just patient enough, I guess, right? The push was right at his doorstep for quite a while. Sniper was slowly taking map control on both sides behind that big central push. But I think Pasta survived it. Let's see. You still have to constantly be microing these Cav Archers. If you lose all your Cav Archers for free against Halb or something, that feels very, very bad. But yeah, the Magyar Hussar can just roll in. Even if you're just doing damage to the Trebs, that still forces repairs, right? Which is resources that Sniper's not going to have available to him for too much longer. Using the Trebs against the Cav Archers is smart. I like that a lot. Really good snipes, actually. These Trebs are going crazy. Reminder that Celt Trebuchets also have additional HP these days, and it's a lot of additional HP because of how high their base HP is. So it is especially difficult to snipe these Trebuchets. But SO taking a lot of damage as they try to dive on the Magyar Trebs. This is a really good game. I have no idea who's going to win this game still. I do favor Pasta's positioning still, I think, but it's a lot of military for Sniper. This is maybe the last push he's got in him, because there's not any more gold behind this. Pasta takes the southern trade workshop. Ram push in the north, okay. And I don't think, well, maybe Pasta has noticed this. Hussar flowing up in this direction now. Hussar goes down, trying to snipe the SO in the middle. But Pasta's back up to almost 50 Cav Archers, which is what you really want to see here as the Magyars, right? This is the composition. 50 Cav Archers, and then you just spam out Magyar Hussar. Castle does go down, though. Vill's trying to snipe the chonky Rams. Will die to the Woads. So this is nice. I don't know. I mean, in a wood game? I hate to say. Wood game? Maybe. Maybe we have to start thinking about these things. What does Pasta's wood access look like, actually? It's not very good, right? He's taking wood here. And that's it. He's got these wood lines, but they're not safe at all. Big Cav Archer push in the south will clear up these wood lines from Sniper, who is now trying to take some wood lines towards the middle while he's still got presence there. Hussar, dive through the Celt castles. They will die underneath all these castles, but if you're sniping villagers, I think this is a worthwhile trade. The ram push has been cleared up. It cleared up everything. This guy's going to have quite a long trek back to the nearest drop-off point. That's quite the long distance farming here, but you know, it's a peaceful life. Sniper's having difficulty keeping population up now. Only one villager in the queue, that's it. Pasta is very aggressively taking this center gold now, and I don't think Sniper can prevent this from happening. Still has a kind of a death ball here, but it's only 4 SO, right? Where are these trebuchets? They're heading on down from the north. Okay, so Sniper's going to try and get one big push going one last time. Still even on trade workshops. I guess Sniper still does have the relic advantage technically. A couple Cav Archers got lost in the group there. And, well, Pasta's going to lose some villagers now on this gold, but I mean, ooh, that's a nice shot. Just using up the gold is not so bad for Pasta, right? He doesn't even necessarily need to take the gold that much anymore. Although, having a few more trebs on the field would be nice. The only risk for Pasta is if he takes a really bad fight with the Cav Archers or something and needs to replace them all. That would be an issue. But SO gets sniped by the Magyar Hussar. Doesn't matter if they die. These SO are very expensive now for Sniper. And where is Pasta taking wood? I guess nowhere right now. He still has a couple villagers taking from here, and that's it. I hope he's paying attention to that, because that could be an issue pretty soon here. But this push feels really good. Raids behind feel really good. And yeah, I think Sniper's dead, right? 66 villagers is not a ton. Still a lot of Halb on the field, but just straight up Halb is not going to win this game for you. And I think Pasta outlasted the Celts. This is a nice raid. It was looking really sketchy in there for a while for NuclearPasta. It really was. Like I said, I was almost ready to give up on him in this one briefly. It just felt like Sniper had full map control at one point and then still had that push going at the front, but Pasta realized how long he could lose ground and still be able to push out, right? So he just kind of banked stuff up. He was sniping siege and important things that whole time. And takes game 1 here. Really good game. That feels really good for Pasta as well. Beating the number 1 overall pick Celts with a pretty low down pick Magyars. Celts maybe not have enough mobility for this map. It could, yeah. Was mobility the issue here? Maybe. I guess as Sniper was trying to clear up the sides, he's not able to flow those units back to the middle when needed, right? So if he's got units down here clearing up these buildings or up here clearing up this castle, right? He can't get those back into the middle for the big fight, so Pasta just kind of waited until he was spread too thin and then pushed out. So maybe, like, you've got the Woads, that's like your speed unit, quote unquote, but it's not really that good in this particular matchup, right? Okay. Good start. Really good start to this series. That was a really good game. Pasta does take the point, however, and that is the Celts losing to the Magyars. Really, really nice start for NuclearPasta, who still has Jurchens available. But Magyar, I mean, even though it was a fairly low pick for Pasta, Magyars are probably the second best Civ available to him in a vacuum. Teutons are arguable, but I think Magyar is probably stronger than most of these civs here. So even though it was a low draft pick, it's still a pretty decent civ overall for Pasta. That was... what color was our boy here? Orange. Okay. Yeah, maybe he needed to make Magyar Hussar a little bit earlier. Maybe that was the decider there. Alright. Game number 2. Which of these is game number 2? We're going to Acre. Alright. What do we think is going to happen here on Acre? Maybe Bohemians for Sniper? Is there any other civ here that makes particular sense? Maybe Britons. And then what is Pasta gonna go here? Jurchens is the best, probably, but they're the best on every map at this point. So do you really want to use them here rather than like if you go, I guess if Pasta likes Japanese for like hyper random, maybe you can sneak in Jurchens here. But then what do you make for immersion? What do you choose for immersion if you go Jurchens here and Japanese there? I guess Byzantines. I don't know how good that feels though. I think I'm gonna guess Bohemians versus I really don't know. I guess I'll say Jurchens, even though I think I would probably pick something like the Teutons here if I was Pasta. But if you're anticipating Bohemians, maybe Jurchens is just the best choice here. Alright, let's find out. Oh, interesting. Okay. I did not anticipate this. Welcome in game 2 Sniper versus NuclearPasta. We are on Akare, and it is the Chinese for Sniper. That was one civ I did not guess. It is the Jurchens for Pasta. So, alright. Bringing out the heavy hitter here. Number 1 overall pick by Pasta. By far the best civ left, I think, on either side of the draft, if I'm being honest. Chinese here. I mean, Chukanu are strong. So, and then maybe you can go water. Okay, early docks for Sniper, both top and bottom. Interesting. I'm not super sold on how important water is on this map. So even though the Chinese are great on water, I don't know if it matters. Chukanu struggling to get out of these walls. Castle does complete before the first little army arrives here for NuclearPasta. This is a cute army. 3 Step Lancers and the Cav Archer. I don't think it's going to find too much damage, but... Chukanu are out. At least on one side. It is... Where is this dock? Oh, it's at the front. Okay, so we have Jurchen Lushuans coming out for Pasta. But they're on the wrong side of the river. So it can't even, like, get over here to actually do damage to Sniper's base. I guess it can if it goes all the way around. Big army, though. Bunch of iron pagodas. Like we said, these iron pagodas have pretty good pierce armor, so they should do decently well against the Chukanu, which are usually fairly solid against cavalry, but I'm curious to see how they actually look here. This is not a civ matchup I've seen very often. Demos. For Sniper, you got to be real careful if you're Pasta. If you run all these cav into a heavy demo, it's going to feel pretty bad. I'm not sure about these Lushuans. They're stuck here, right? This guy can't get out, I don't think. I think this is a dock block. So how valuable is this? I guess the Jurchen Lushuans are particularly good against land units, because they get the extra boom on their big shot. But this feel very in danger. Alright, here's Lushuans from the Chinese. Technically, the Jurchen Lushuans should be better. And both players seem somewhat confident in their late game compositions, I suppose. Neither really wants to push out just yet. Sniper is going to eventually start collecting these relics up top. Does have Navy top and bottom. So I said this is not necessarily a big water map, and then we have 2 of the best water civs in the game going full Lushuans in the middle. Alright. Let's see. I think this is such a big army, though. I just don't know if there's enough halb here. Let's see. Chukanu up against the Iron Pagodas. It's really not great, right? It's really not great, actually. The Halberdier get smoked. The Chukanu are getting smoked. Rocket Cart's putting out decent damage. More Halb arrive, so the Iron Pagodas have to pull back. And I guess blot out the sun with your arrows kind of moment here for the Chukanu. They just got to keep firing. The Jurchen Cav Archer is interesting, isn't it? They don't get Thumbring or Parthian, so they're not amazing Cav Archers. But, I mean, Bombard Cannons behind, putting in good work against the Chukanu. Lushuans are kind of getting dunked on by the Iron Pagodas, but they are also killing them eventually. Castle falls at the front. I think this... I mean, is there a long Akare game? Is there such a thing? Sniper has only 1 relic still. Where is this monk going, bro? You gotta stay up here with your monastery, brother. Chukanu arrive for Sniper. Pull off some of the Cav Archers. The Halb just don't survive long enough. Iron Pagodas have an obscene amount of HP, so even though the Halbs are doing pretty good damage, it just takes them a while to die. So maybe the Cav Archers are fine here. Like, they're kind of fulfilling the same role as the Grenadiers. They're just a little bit... Like, the mobility is nicer. They're a little bit cheaper to mass up. Chukanu mass. Doing good damage to the castle. But this push is really coming in hard. There are so many bombard cannons in here. 2 castles have already fallen for Sniper. The main base is kind of in shambles. 4 castles do fall for Pasta, and the bombard cannons will get sniped by the Lushuans as well. But there's nothing on land. Excuse me. The water fight is going great, but there's nothing on land for Sniper. He's got 5 Halbs and 2 Chukanu left. That's it. And I don't know if having full water control is going to save you on this map. I mean, it's helping for sure. I guess if you can clear up this army now, there's no reinforcements that can get across the water. But can you clear up this army now? With 12 Halbs and 3 Fire Lancers? I don't know, man. It's looking rough. It's looking real rough. The water fight went splendidly, but I don't think it matters anymore. Snipe 1 bombard cannon, it's worth it. Oh, hero Fire Lance? Ah, he doesn't get it. Does not get it. I think it's over. Needed to hold 3 minutes longer. Yeah, actually. If he held in such a way that this army still had to be out here, it would have been great, right? But unfortunately, he gave up so much ground that they kind of could just sit inland, and it didn't matter. Cav Archers are cleared up. But once this castle falls, I think Sniper is going to have 0 I guess he does still have an eco up here. What if you relocated your entire economy to this island and just played relics late game? What do you think? Get like 100 Chukanu into this pond? And then you had all the relics? I guess there's a lot of wood on this map, so that'd be a little difficult, I suppose. Okay, bombard cannons move forward. There is a bit of an army here. But I don't think it's enough of an army, right? Halbs. Get in on the Cav Archers. Wait a minute. Can we clear this up? It's not a great shot to take from the bombard cannons. Yeah, I think selling out for the bombard cannons was maybe needed. There are so many weak ones in here, too. 3 HP on that guy. 9 on that guy. Be nice if we could get them out of here. Halbs. Get 1. Get both. And an extra 1. Ooh, actually, wait a minute. Is there still a chance here for Sniper? We're down to only 2 bombard cannons, so it's not going to be easy to push this position anymore. Cav Archers are getting got on the front line against the Lushuans. There are still a lot of Cav Archers up here, but they don't want to dive on the castle, right? Where do we go from here for Sniper? I guess is the more pressing question, right? How do you win from here? Cav Archers are going to come up here. They're actually going to deny the final relic, unfortunately. But a quartet of Cavalier arrived to snipe the siege. This isn't good. This is really not good. Sniper only has 2 TCs and they're on polar opposite sides of the map. So every villager that goes down here is really bad. And a lot of villagers are going down here. He's down to 32 vills. The Halbs decide they don't want to help, I guess. They've left. Chukanu cleared up anyway. But I mean, I still think it's not that hard to cross the river, right? These are long rivers. So realistically, maybe you don't want to cross right where the Chukanu are, but you can still get across the water. And every Chukanu that goes down is also not particularly replaceable by Sniper at this point. So, yeah, I think we're fine. I think we're fine. Chukanu and Pawns is not recommended. They aren't good versus demos. Well, yeah. I guess you'd need a couple demos in front to intercept anything that came up, right? Here come the Trebs. They're looking to get another castle down. I mean, I don't... I don't want to call this a push. There's no siege behind this. So it's not really a push. Rocket carts come forward. Pasta has had a great economy for quite a while. Splits around the rocket carts. Okay. Sniper has nothing else to look at, really, except for this, so the micro should be pretty decent. Where did the Trebs go? Oh, interesting. Using the neutral walls to your advantage. I like that. Nukes out that TC. Is killing houses, but joke's on you, Sniper doesn't have any population. He doesn't even need those houses. I'm not 100% sure why we're in this game still. I feel like we're just waiting for a big clear up, right? Sniper doesn't want to GG when he still has an army. I think this is the end of the army, though. It is. And that's going to be the end of the base in the north. Even a castle in the center strip between the rivers there is nice. I guess Sniper does have control in the south, but the south doesn't really matter on this map. Particularly. Wouldn't Grenadiers be better here? Probably, yeah. I was thinking Cav Archers earlier made sense maybe, just because, like, they're a little bit faster to get across. I think they're a little bit cheaper, but I do think Grenadiers would have been good to switch into at a certain point. All right, GG is called. I don't know exactly what Sniper was waiting for to see that this game was over, but it is indeed over. Jurchens take game 2 over the Chinese. I think that's to be expected. The Chinese land tech tree is still not that great. Really good water sieve, but as you saw here, water only gets you so far. Okay. All right. Chinese lose to the Jurchens. That's not a bad civ trade for Sniper, though. Taking out the Jurchens with the Chinese. Well, not taking them out, but, like, getting them out of the draft. And that was a win on Acre for Pasta. Okay. Up 2-0 early on in this one. We're moving on to hyper random. So this is where I guess it's got to be Japanese for Pasta, right? Unless you really want the Japanese for immersion. Is there any other civ here that feels good on hyper random? I don't think you can overgo Teutons here. think you ever go Byzantines on hyper random. Koreans could be really bad if the map loads in a particular way. Like, sometimes you're really far apart on hyper random. If you get that, and I guess Koreans are okay on water, but are they even in Deathmatch? They're not, right? Because they don't get demos, which is kind of needed. So I don't even know what kind of map you would be hoping for with the Korean. So I think it has to be Japanese. And then probably Berbers for sniper. I think that makes sense to me. Not playing Koreans would be weird. Yeah, they're probably not good on immersion either, right? Maybe you could get Koreans to work on Fez, but they don't have the mobility. Ooh, I don't know, man. I definitely like Sniper's civs remaining much more than Pasta's. Let's get into it, let's find out. Oh my goodness, okay. Well, oh boy, welcome in. Game 3. Sniper versus NuclearPasta. We are on hyper random, and oh boy, what a generation it is. We've got Gergen Khan out here for both. So that's going to be a nice unit to maybe snipe some villagers with. Although he's not finding the villagers over on this side. It is the Huns for sniper, and it is the Koreans for pasta. Oh boy, losing a lot of vills to Mr. Khan. The TC can't kill this guy. He's got crazy stats, bro. Look at this. 190 HP, regeneration, armor. He's actually nuts. He's cracked. Very nice to have Khan with the Huns, by the way. I like that. Oh, don't throw him away. He just doesn't die, man. He just does not die. So it's actually not a bad map for either of these civs. I was very dubious about... I did not expect the Huns on hyper random, and I mean, I kind of detailed why I didn't love the Koreans, but this is a great map for them. There's no water, and you're quite close together, so it's good for the Huns because you're so close together you can get this push going super fast. If the Koreans can survive, it's not a bad map for them because you're so close to your opponent, you don't need to worry about mobility necessarily. We're going Korean Cav Archers. Is this Maxi? Who is this? Castle's trying to go up. It does. 8 villagers have died. 4 pasta in here. There's a lot. I think the Huns have just overwhelmed, right? Yeah, it's over. Yeah. Like I said, it's a good map for the Koreans if they can survive this, but it's a really good map for the Huns because they can just flood in. I mean, Mr. Khan, who I guess he died. Very sad, but that opening hero unit killed like 4 villagers for pasta in here. Oh boy, alright. Well, what a hyper random generation, man. Hyper random, and then we never had to look away from this like 10% of the map. If this game did end up going late, it actually would have been a fun map, but was not meant to be. Alright, snipers on the board. We like to see that. We like to see that. Huns ended up being a great pick. So much better than the Berbers, so I guess Sniper knows more than I do. Koreans do not find success, though. And now we're going to have to try and find 2 civs that feel good here for pasta for Immersion and Fez. Ooh. So I guess it's Berbers for Fez for Sniper then, and it'll be Bohemians for Immersion. You could go Britons on Immersion also, but probably not. Berbers are good for Immersion, but I don't think you want to go Britons or Bohemians for Fez. So I think Berbers have to be for Fez. And then, what are we doing here for pasta? Do you ever go Teutons for Immersion and try and make Japanese work for Fez? Teutons on Immersion, of course. Okay. Pasta, welcome in. By the way, Britons are a fine Immersion civ. I agree. I guess it depends on what you load up again. Honestly, I mean, if you're anticipating Teutons for Immersion, I don't mind either of these two civs, realistically. Sniper, welcome in. Big hyper-random win. That's why we love hyper-random, man. Sometimes it just loads in here. Alright. Where are we going next? Game 4. We're going Immersion. So, I really do not mind the Britons here. I think I'm going to say Bohemians just because they're so high up on the draft. And do I want to say, I think it has to be Teutons or Byzantines. I did say Byzantines earlier, but I guess I'll go Teutons. Let's see. Oh boy. Well, alright. Welcome in. Game 4. We've got a set on our hands here. Pasta versus Sniper. We are on Immersion. It is the Byzantines for Pasta, and it's the Berbers for Sniper. So that's going to make Fez quite interesting for Sniper, civ-wise. But Berbers will do good here. I like the Berbers for Immersion. So, I guess maybe it's best chance to take us to a decider game 5. Byzantines for Pasta. We'll see. We'll see what the game plan is here. Both players are going out for that larger center pond. So the differences to Immersion, as far as I can tell, is they really shrunk these side ponds, and they maybe even took away a side pond. I feel like there were usually a few more in here, but maybe not. So water is not as important anymore. Byzantines should fare pretty well straight up in these ponds. They're so small, especially now, that the Byzantine fire ships could be viable. Obviously, demos are kind of the go-to to take initial pond control, though. So we'll see how that goes. Having water control is still valuable, right? There's quite a few ores within range of the water. So I think it's still worth fighting for. This is a really good opening for Sniper, though. Had those docks up much faster. Sniped a couple villagers on the back end with these Berber camels. So I think we'll take full control over this middle pond. And yeah, Pasta's not even trying to produce out of there. It's trying to get a castle up at home so that these Berber camels can't just run in and ruin the game. They're getting into the back where there are docks coming up, but I don't know if they've noticed that villager or not. Byzantine cav archers. Did Pasta legitimately give his account to Maxi here? This is the second game in a row we've seen crazy cav archers. I guess they do get Thumbring this time, but still no bloodlines, no Parthian. It's not Byzantine cav archers are not seen very often. I'll put it that way. Dock here for Sniper, but castle up in the hills for Pasta. Still has camels running through the base, but I think they'll get cleared up by Halb eventually here. Cannon galleons can reach this castle? They can. Wow, okay. I thought they might not be able to, but they must just reach it. That's unfortunate for Pasta. That's very unfortunate for Pasta, actually. Yeah, and this is also kind of the issue, right? I don't know what military you can make against the Byzantines or against the Berbers rather, as the Byzantines, right? You go camel, they have better camel. Also, their camels are also cheap, which is the only bonus of the Byzantines. You really cannot go cav archers against the Berbers here as the Byzantines. I'm sorry to break it to Pasta, but that's not going to work out long term. So you kind of have to go Halb. What? You only get Onager and you don't even get siege engineers, right? So I guess maybe just Onager is still an okay option, but it doesn't feel very good. Biz have a way better land army. How is that possible? What? Is there a single unit that the Byzantines have a better unit of than the Berbers on land? What is it? There must be, I guess, but what is it? I feel like there's nothing, right? They even have, I mean, they have Halb, and Berbers only get pikemen, so I guess that's something. Even their champions are worse. Yeah, exactly. Right? It's just the Halb line. Okay, the GG is called, yeah. This was not gonna happen. The opening was rough, right? I think if the Byzantines were going to contend here, they kind of needed water control. That obviously did not happen. Honestly, with how far away these ponds are these days, back in my day, the water was quite close to the players. Now, having to walk all this distance, the Berbers are really good on this map, right? The Berber speed actually matters. Trying to get these docks down faster. And then, yeah, obviously, like, the fight was not going to happen. Paladin better than Cavalier. Yeah, true. Yeah, Byzantines have better Paladin, which they don't want to make, and they have better Halb, which I guess they do want to make, but that can't be your main composition, right? Are do Byzantine Paladin even beat Berber Cavalier? They don't get the last attack, and they don't get bloodlines. I guess they're still better, probably, right? But it's probably not that far apart. I agree, Pasta. I'm gonna be honest. I agree. I liked the big old pond immersion from last season. I don't think I like this map that much anymore. It was either my favorite or my second favorite. Well, maybe third favorite map in last TDM. Uh, I didn't get to cast the wood game on immersion, so maybe I'm biased against it now. But I personally have not cast any particularly amazing immersion games. All right. Well, the Berbers do get the win against the Byzantines on immersion. Now we go to Fez. And I don't really like any of these civs that much for Fez. I guess it'll be Japanese. And I guess it'll be Bohemians, right? Is that the only like, I don't think it's Britons here. So no, I think it's just Bohemians. I said at the beginning, before any games happened, I said Bohemians feel pretty good against both of these civs. I guess less so Japanese, I think, but I think I still prefer Bohemians a bit. So I guess that's the only those are the only civs I can predict. We need to speak out whenever the two people pressure hard on something they really want. Kellar wanted the pawn smaller, so there would be no wood games. Yeah, well, I don't remember any wood games in the previous immersion, were there? There were long games on the previous immersion. I don't remember any wood games, though. All right, let's get into game 5. We do have, I do need to do that. Decider game here is very hype. We like to see that. It's been a really good series. This has been a really good series, actually. Every single game has been entertaining in different ways. All right. Welcome in. Game 5 decider match. Sniper versus NuclearPasta. We are on Fez, and what a Civ matchup we have worked our way into here throughout this series. Bohemians for Sniper up against the Japanese from Pasta. It's an interesting Civ matchup. You don't see Japanese a ton in TDM anyway. Ooh, that's a nice snipe by Sniper. But Pasta does like the Japanese, I remember that. And they are still a pretty solid Civ. We saw them in the previous season of TDM 6, TDM 5, I should say. Japanese got quite a few pretty good games going for them. So they are still a really solid Civ. It's a weird Civ matchup. I really don't know which Civ I prefer here. Bohemians are going to be making Hussite wagons, especially against the Japanese. Usually they want infantry. That doesn't feel great against the Japanese, though. So do they need to switch? Do they need to like mix in hand cannons? But then that's countered by the cav archers that the Japanese will be making, right? So I actually don't know which Civ I prefer straight up here. Both players taking it pretty slow, getting castles down in their base. Sniper hits the market faster, which I think is valuable for the Bohemians. Castle in the south is as much as we've gone for side expansion on either side. The Japanese should have more mobility because they're going to be mainly cav archers, certainly early on. I do think Samurai is not a bad unit to eventually get into, though, in this matchup. Maybe I'm a little too hopeful. Ooh, massive value down here. A single champion and single Halb denies the castle and the two TCs. Obviously, this can be cleared up eventually, but really nice to delay that. At the same time, cav archers in the north are going to potentially delay some expansion up here. This is speedy Bohemian villagers, though. You think Berber vills are fast? Look at this guy. He gets the fervor, right? Fervored vills. Halbraid coming forward for Pasta. And yeah, the only real... I don't know what you make to deal with the Hussite wagons as Japanese. I guess they're going onager. They do get siege engineers, so that's probably still fine, right? You don't necessarily... But obviously against the Hufnitsa, that's kind of a tough ask. Oh man, Pasta is patrolling this shoreline so nicely and just does not realize that that villager already hightailed it over the water. That's unfortunate. So, getting some relics up here as Sniper already. I like the expansion for Pasta. Look at this wall of expansion straight vertically across the map. You do want to have your fingers in every pie here, if you'll excuse a weird metaphor, but there's gold down here, right? There's stone up here. Relics are mostly up in the north, but there are some down here as well. Trying to micro the Cav Archers against the Hufnitsa is tough. It's a lot of champions. Holy champions. We're going to have 100 champions on the field for the Bohemians against the Japanese of all civs. Who have the best, I think the best champions in the game. I guess it depends on how you view the Slav champions. Probably in DM, the Slav champions are a little bit better, actually, but 1-to-1, Japanese have the best. This is really nice damage by the Cav Archers. All the Hufnitsa get sniped out. Some Cav Archers died, but I think you take that trade every day, right? We do have to back up a little bit now, though. Onagers and the Cav Archers should be enough to force us back from here. That's a nice Onager shot. Tom would be proud of these champs. Yep. This is going to be a game for the sword lovers, I have a feeling. We just got to get these Cav Archers out of the way so we can really just go full infantry, right? They're diving on the Hufnitsa again. Another siege snipe down, but that maybe is not the best trade in the world. A lot of Cav Archers dying to these Hussite wagons. They just do not do damage against the Hussite wagons, right? It's 1 damage per arrow, so really cannot take that fight. PC up in the north. Still getting side controls, but this is such a bad fight. I don't know. The Trebs are here to try and do something, I guess, against the Hussite wagons. Or the Hufnitsa. Oh, whoa. 4 Hufnitsa get sniped out by the Trebs, but where's the army out in front of them? It's dead. Champions. No, there's no way that Sniper is going to beat the Japanese with full champion. I do not believe it. I guess there are 50 Hussite wagons on the field. 130 military for Sniper. Is getting pushed in the south. That's nice by Pasta. But how do you need to stop this first, right? Another Hufnitsa sniped out. Hussite wagons under fire. Man, these Trebs are going crazy, actually. But yeah, you need to keep clicking or like attack ground in here or something with these Trebs, I guess. Hero shot, huge. As the Treb goes down behind. But this castle is going to go down. The Hussite wagons do decently against the champions. And obviously they still do amazingly against the Cav Archers, right? It is going well in the south. But I think we just die to this, right? If we're Pasta. I don't know how we stop this. Full Hussite wagon actually goes pretty hard against the Japanese, I guess. True reverse sweep for Sniper. I have talked about reverse sweeps. I guess I mentioned it for the previous set, didn't I? I didn't say it for this one. Darn it. I can't take credit for that one. I mean, look at this. This one Hussite wagon is just mogging this entire Cav Archer army. Sorry, Pasta, for being so hyped for the reverse sweep, by the way. We just like reverse sweeps. It has nothing to do with you in particular. We just like reverse sweeps, that's all. Yeah, I think this one's over. 41 to 100 military. Really good economy for Pasta, but just nothing to spend it on, right? I wonder if you could have gone full Samurai. Samurai would get an attack bonus against these things, right? Plus melee units are pretty good against them anyway. And they've got the charge attack now, so they can maybe get in on the Hussite wagons easier. I know it's tough to mass up the Samurai, but I think maybe that would have been the play. because they destroy the champions, right? And I think if you get enough samurai, they might have been able to do all right against the wagons. You just need so many of them that maybe it's not viable. Pasta hates unique units, confirmed. I mean, look at this guy going to town. They're coming out. They're very speedy into the fight. We just need to mass them up. Obviously, the one by one, they don't look very impressive, but... Now, I will say, we have seen players lose their entire base and still survive, right? The Pasta hasn't given up. I sound like I've given up, but Pasta's not given up yet. The push is still coming in the south. Still has okay control in the north. Although I see that Sniper is thinking about pushing that position. Still has 140 villagers on the field. It's only 100 for Sniper, who is out of gold, by the way. If he loses the south here, there's no more gold left to take. Bohemians are not good without gold at all. So, theoretically, if we just grit and bare our teeth here and just get wiped up in our main base, maybe you can outlast, mass something up in the south again. Maybe. Castle's not going down for Sniper, though. This one Treb has been putting in the work, but there are a lot of villagers here repairing. 25 villagers. Might start to go down now, though. Hussite wagons have arrived. And we haven't really been able to mass up that army in the south just yet. I think this is the right composition, though, right? Onager Samurai, I think, is correct for Pasta. I just don't know if there's enough time anymore to get enough of them on the field, right? Samurai don't produce the slowest in the world, but it's trebuchets trying to come out against all the siege now. The snipes have been great for Pasta. The trebuchets are amazing. I know that they don't have an accuracy bonus, but it really feels like these trebuchets have an accuracy bonus. Castle does go down, but that was a lot of Hofnitsa that just died. Is there still hope? I think there is. There's no more siege here. Where did the samurai go? They're in the north now, okay. But this big death ball from Sniper has been thinned out fairly severely. I guess this is the bad thing, though. Yeah, back on gold. Now in the south is Sniper, which was kind of the win condition for Pasta. These are really good raids. Underneath the castle, though. Villagers coming out here to snipe trebuchets in the north. But, obviously, Pasta's trebuchets are just built different, and they win that easily. Hussite wagons. Going home. I don't know if I would be making cav archers anymore, I'm gonna be honest. I guess the food eco isn't really set up for, like, full samurai. We still need something to be able to deal with the infantry, but they just die so inefficiently against the Hussite wagons. Feels rude to call the death of someone inefficient, but that's the point we're at. Yeah. It was a good fight here. It really was a good fight here. It still has the economy lead, by the way, just Pasta, but I mean, it's now 3-1 military in Sniper's favor. This shouldn't be a loss at this point. The Hussite wagons still just do not really have a counter. Oh, and the trebuchets all go down. Pasta looking at the wrong part of the map at the wrong time. Also, these trebuchets. I guess there really isn't very much military on the map at all for Pasta, so makes a bit of sense to see trebuchets unguarded. Forward castle now for Sniper. And there's just not enough Samurai, right? Even if... I'm still not 100% sure they would have done... They would have, you know, countered this, but certainly not in these numbers. That's a nice raid. But 8 relics behind this for Sniper as well is really nice. Just needs to be able to break this castle. And I think that will be the win. Obviously, Game 5, the winner of this... winning this set is a big deal. So we're not going to GG early by any means. But I don't think it's going to happen. When there were Samurai and Onagers, it was great. Yeah, I think that needed to be the composition, but just was not able to get into it, right? Started out with the Cav Archers to try and take an early position, right? That was the only mobile unit the Japanese really have available to them. And just from a raw production standpoint, right? It takes a long time for the Japanese production to get going. But I think there needed to be a moment in there somewhere where we switched into that. Maybe not. Maybe the Samurai just died to this also. What do I know? But this definitely died to it. I don't know if Samurai died to this. I do know that Cav Archers died to this. Onager is getting great attacks in here, though. Maybe just needed more Onager early, honestly. Forget the Samurai. Who cares? Maybe the Onager just needed to be in here. The Trebs behind have been insane sniping these Haufnitze. It feels like these are Britain trebuchets or something. It's actually been nuts. But the wagons are still alive. It's only 24 now. There were 50 of them not too long ago. The north is still... Ooh, this is scary. The Onagers are coming down all the way from here. Oh boy. That's a long trek. It's a long trek. Castle did fall for Pasta, but the hold has been astronomical, to be honest. It's too, like... Pasta actually would have won if he could have cleared this castle up, I think. I actually think, now that I've seen the rest of the game, how close it's been with such a commanding position from Sniper, I think Pasta might have had a chance if he just took this out. Suddenly Sniper is out of gold. Still not done, though. The Q is not good for Sniper. Wood economy, a little inefficient. A little low on the wood economy. It's... Ooh, nice attack grounds. And look at this. Now we actually have 40 Samurai on the field. Suddenly, the numbers are looking a little bit better for the Japanese unique units. The Samurai will destroy the champions. I think in these numbers they'll do alright against the wagons. Especially if there's Onager behind. Oh, careful. Careful, careful, careful. Almost nuked his own Samurai, so then he ran his Onagers into the Haufnitze. That was really unfortunate. But, alright. We're still in this. How are we still in this? How in the world is Pasta still alive here? It's been such a... It's such a bad position for so long. It's been like 20 minutes of just the worst map position and army count that I've ever seen. And somehow we're still alive. Castle is getting trebbed down, though. It's going to be an issue if this castle falls. It really is going to be an issue. So I think we need to take the fight right now if we're going to take the fight. At least snipe the Trebs. They're losing a lot of onager, but the trebs do go down. Maybe that's okay. Pasta still does not want to take a fight right now. The only issue, I suppose, is even though the samurai will do well against the champions, they're basically getting double teamed by the champions and the wagons at the same time. Is this it? Here we go. All right, let's see. Well, some of them were chasing the Hufnitsa, but that wasn't a great fight. Maybe the Hussite wagons do better than I was hoping against the samurai. Yeah, darn it. I thought there was hope there with that charge out, man. I thought there might have been hope. There were just enough champions to slow them down. Like I said, they're getting double teamed, right? So even though I think they should take a decent fight against both of these units, trying to take a good fight against both of them at once, kind of a tall order. Pasta has to call the GG. The reverse sweep comes in for Sniper. Wins it 3-2 over Pasta. Clinches it here with the Bohemians on Fez. Not a Civ I would have anticipated would be good on this map. And to be fair, maybe they're not. I think a slightly more mobile Civ probably could have ended this game a bit faster, but you know what? A win is a win. If you get there eventually, it doesn't matter, right? Yeah, the 9 relics was also huge for Sniper, right? He had those 9 relics in super fast. 5 there, and probably something... Yeah, another 3 down in the south. 3 plus 5. So did he have... Does he have one more monastery here somewhere? Oh, here. He yoinked the relic up here. Okay. Yeah, 6k relic gold is a big deal, right? Sniper was out of gold briefly when this location was getting pushed by Pasta like 15 minutes ago, 20 minutes ago. Sniper was out of gold, had no gold income briefly, so those 8 or 9 relics he had behind it really came through clutch. Pasta says, I would still pick Japanese in this Civ matchup every time. Honestly, I might too. It sounds weird with how bad this game went. But I do honestly think after seeing it play out, I might prefer the Japanese. You just can't be in such a bad position for so long, right? If that initial push hadn't been so good by Sniper, I think the Japanese had some options. But it was just a losing battle for most of this game for Pasta and the Japanese. All right. Yeah, what a set. Really amazing set, honestly. Banger. I'm glad. Who was it that asked for this? It was Torfux, right? I think is who asked for this one. I'm glad they did because this was a great set. We should play more Japanese versus Bohemians. I'd watch this matchup a few more times. Absolutely. Japanese have all the options. They do have good options. Yeah, I'd like to see this Civ matchup a few more times. Maybe on a couple different maps. This Fez tends to lend itself to one big push, so maybe that helped out the Bohemians a little bit. Okay, what a good set.